Hey everybody, welcome back. Hope you're having a good winter. Today is going to be probably a short discussion, but only because I'm not sure how many of you will be affected by this. I'm going to split this into a two-part conversation actually. First, in a prior video, I talked about the president coming on during shows that I enjoy and interrupting and taking over the whole show, and then having to wait another day, and it pushing everything back. I realized something with the current president. Apparently, they've taken notice of that. Biden's speeches seem to be short and to the point, and he doesn't do a lot of questions. Now, whether that's because he doesn't actually know the answers to it, which could be a thing, or if it's because they're just not wanting to give a lot in order to ensure that they can actually do what they need to and not get a lot of hopes up for nothing. I don't know. But I do know their speeches, that the president's speeches have went from an hour to being cut down to, at most, from Biden's speech, his longest one I saw was an hour, and that was early this year. His speeches lately have been 20 minutes at most, and I have to thank him for that. Now for the thing I really wanted to discuss. The college football playoffs this year. Now, I know not a lot of people are fans of football lately, and I can understand that. And I'm not sure how many viewers I have that are. So, if you're not, this video may not be for you. But anyways, when I saw the college football playoff standings, I was alright with the idea that, hey, two SEC teams are in it to play each other at first. Then I looked. They're not going to play each other. Because I thought the SEC championship would have decided who would have stayed in and who would have got knocked out. But no. They took the ESPN theory and went, okay, Georgia lost to Bama. We'll knock them down to third. Put Bama, we'll knock Georgia down to third. Move Bama into first. And they won't play each other in the playoffs until the championship, if they both make it. And who do these other teams are playing? They got Alabama, due to how this setup is going, now playing number 4 Cincinnati, who, as much as I admire the Bearcats for finishing with a perfect record, come on, you're putting them up against Alabama. I want the Bearcats to win and everything, but seriously, you're putting them up against a power school that is known for running over small schools just for the fun of it. On the other side of that, you got Michigan and Georgia. While Michigan worked to make sure that they got in, I have to argue against Georgia being there. They lost the championship game. That's like saying, oh, you know what? While you lost the conference championship, we should let you be in the Super Bowl. Come on. There should be a law against this. If the team doesn't win their conference championship, they shouldn't be allowed to make the playoffs in that way. It doesn't matter how good a record they had. It used to be a rule. Every team has a bad day. Okay, that makes sense. You could go with a perfect record, lose the final game, you're out. Now it's, oh, you lost the final game? Oh, okay, we'll take that in consideration and let you in still. There were still two teams behind them, one of which I supported even. I admit. So, yes, I may sound a little biased and hurt, but I'm at least honest about it. If you're going to let somebody in just because they're in a certain conference, that's just as biased as not letting somebody get knocked out. I mean, that's just as biased as not letting somebody in for being in a certain conference and saying that their schedule's weak. You're not looking for the game. You're not looking for a game. You're looking for the money. In college football, despite the fact that, yes, the NCAA and the NBA and the NFL, all those sports conferences, and all those sports associations are a business by default. So, yes, they do need to make money. They're supposed to be looking out. The NCAA is supposed to be looking out for the students, which means it's not just supposed to be about, oh, you're in this particular one, so you get more attention. And yes, so I am against the idea that Georgia should be in the playoffs as they are. Okay, now, like with Brady, I was, okay, now like in the pros, like I was saying, like you went 18-0, yeah, you were considered great. And then you'd play the championship. If you lost that, it wouldn't be, oh, you lost, ha ha ha. We're still going to consider you champions. But, I mean, because like Brady, I didn't like him. I still don't. But the man has proved that he is great and earned his way there. Manning, I can't stand. But according to most, he's done that too. He's done that as well. I mean, Peyton Manning. Eli, I liked. Peyton Manning, most people think he's proven he's great as well. I think that's under debate. Now, but anyways, back to Brady. The man went eight. The man had a season at least 1 year, where he was going for a perfect record. Came up against Eli in the Super Bowl. Got beat. 18-1. I don't remember anybody saying, oh, but you were playing such a good team, so we're going to call you the champs. Or give you some big notification over this. No, they were the losers. They got mocked over it, plain and simple. Georgia should have been treated the same way. They lost. They should have lost their spot. And somebody else should have moved in. Whether it been Notre Dame, Oklahoma State, NC State, as a way, way out of the blue example. But Notre Dame, Oklahoma State, Baylor, as Baylor surprised us all with that win over Oklahoma State, except for my dad, who for some reason knew Baylor was going to win that one. I think he got some inside track information somehow in his head. Like alien talking to him. Man's crazy. But anyways, when it comes to certain things, yes. I understand the idea that, oh, you had it tough. Okay, we cut you a break. This particular incident, no. Georgia was bragging and even pushing on how great they were. Had their followers behind them all the way. And in sports, it's always said, any given day, you can get beat. Georgia got beat in the championship. Therefore, Alabama should have got the spot and stayed in. Georgia should have gotten knocked out. Yes, that would have mean. Yes, that could have meant that another team that people wouldn't have given as good odds in Vegas or as good odds in anything in general could have gotten in, but at least it would have been fair. What the NCAA did in having the team, what the people who did in picking the teams that got to be in this tournament did was completely unfair to the NCAA. Or it was completely biased towards the NCAA and its idea of making money. They're not in it for the sport itself. Now, I don't know when that got lost. I can remember as a kid, you could see a team who wasn't great go up against. You could see a team who you knew was the underdog going up against a great team and hoping for that win. But nowadays, it's like, oh, we got to have this team versus this team, or the chance that this team will face that team in order for it to make money. Otherwise, what's the point of having the bowl games? To me, that's a messed up logic. You want a bowl game that people will want to see, but at the same time, you want the idea that it's worth it. Yes, there are teams who play each other that are small schools that could prove that they're better than a lot of the bigger schools in games. But anyways, that's my point. The Power Five getting into bowl game, getting into the college playoffs to play each other just because, ooh, you only have one loss due to the championship, so we're going to let you stay in it, is a real crappy reason. They should just have taken them out and let somebody else take their place. It's an unfair thing to do, but it's how it is. I know people are going to complain, probably say that, yes, I'm being biased or that I should be showing some type of respect or something. I am showing respect. You lost. You should have lost your spot. It's a championship game. Therefore, it was deciding something important. Which one of you should have stayed in the playoffs? Now, I will admit, personally, I had no vote in this as to which one stayed, as to which one won, because I don't like Georgia. I don't like Bama. I don't like the Tide. Let me specify on that. Auburn is good. Georgia Tech is all right. But the Bulldogs and Crimson Tide, I am not a fan of. So when that game happened, I didn't really care who won or who lost. But somebody had to, and it was Georgia. So Georgia should have lost their spot in the playoffs and not just lost a spot and dropped to third. It should have allowed Baylor, Oklahoma State, Notre Dame. It should have allowed one of those at least into it. But anyways, thank you. And leave your comment on what you think of the subject.